What's up, YouTube world? It's your boy J Dub, the number one comment on YouTube, and I'm back with another review. Today, I will be reviewing Married at First Sight. This is season 14, episode 18. This is the reunion part 1. And for those who are not familiar with my reviews on Married at First Sight, for Married at First Sight, I break down a review couple by couple. And I have to put this disclaimer for every video. I will not be addressing Chris and Alyssa. I gave up on them a long time ago when Alyssa pulled all those Karen moves and made me sick to my stomach. So I don't even get into what they do. I don't even care. I don't know why I'm looking at them. I don't know why anything. Just they don't exist to me. So for those who are new to my channel, I give detailed reviews of reality shows. May not hit every single scene, but I pick up some important details out of the show and maybe even some details you may not have noticed. And as I tell y'all, I am the home. This is the home of YouTube's number one commenter. So this channel is all about the comments. If you're not comfortable or familiar with comment, you're just a bystander, this is the place for you to make that change. Why? Because the motto of this channel is say what you say. Anything you want to talk about, if it's controversial, unpopular, echo chamber, whatever you want to say, put it down in the comments. Why? Because you're within a community now. That community is the Dub fam. So we get down in the comments, we laugh, we joke, we debate, we learn, we do all kind of stuff. I mean, and it's so much so people don't even comment to me; they comment to each other, and sometimes the comments be going on for days. And I mean, I just love it. That's why I have my own channel, just for the comments, my own platform. So as I said, talk about what you want to talk about. If you want to talk about why Michael should always keep his head straight forward, say it. If you want to talk about the little imperfection in Jasmina, I say it. It don't matter. Or how Jasmina got two little beaver teeth that come down slightly, but it's cool with me. You know, I'd rather see that than them ATL doggy dentures that people got. Your teeth is bone white and they perfect and thick like a mouth guard. But that's too much detail. I ain't going into that. But the key is you get the point. Whatever you want to say, it don't matter. The only thing I ask is that you respect the people in the comments, because those are my people. Those are your people. They're my cousins. That's the Dub fan. So let me go ahead and get into this review of America's favorite couple, Michael and Jasmina. So the Good Buddies, they come out, and they both were dressed well, looked nice. But I noticed something like, hey, they're not color coordinated. You know, like Jasmina didn't take little Michael's clothes and lay them out on the bed and match them up and all that kind of stuff. So I'm thinking, well, that's not really a good sign on the reunion about like their status. But I picked up on the body language of them two. They were sitting very close. Jasmina had her legs crossed, almost crossing over Michael's legs. So I'm like, that's positive. You know, they're getting closer because we know this couple has issues with physical intimacy. And primarily that's because Jasmina has no interest in doing that with Michael. And, you know, while they're talking, the conversation is real lighthearted. They, you know, doing jokes. They got smiles. So I'm thinking, oh, they probably are, right? You know, it's hard to tell any romantic connection between them. Why? Because it's just not there. You know, I believe, and they said it, that they're great friends or what have you. And that's exactly what it's looking like. But as far as the conversation went on the couch, the conflict came up when they discussed the situation where Jasmina called Michael aggressive. This was probably what kicked their whole drama thing that went all the way through up until this decision day of Jasmina calling Michael aggressive, because I don't know if it was editing, but before, when they was on the honeymoon in Puerto Rico, she told the man that he was loud, he was aggressive, and all that. He agreed, but they had a meeting with Pastor Cal, and Michael got Jasmina straight. He's like, hey, I might use the wrong tone. I might have what do you say? He might use the wrong tone. He might have been condescending, but he didn't yell at her or anything like that. And with that in that area, Jasmina's credibility is very low. Why? Because the people who know her best say like she don't like no kind of tones, and if you're debating with her, she believes that that's aggression. Now, I can't get with that. I am one who believes in respect. Like you wouldn't sit and yell at your supervisor or your mother or your father. So please don't feel comfortable yelling at me. Show me the same respect. So I get that part, but Jasmine doesn't have that credibility, and Michael's pretty much saying like he was never aggressive. And me and Michael have the same definition of aggressive. It's the intimidation type of situation. And Michael said he definitely doesn't do that. And Jasmine tries to double down and say, hey, I meant what I said. I used the word aggressive. That's the one I meant to use. You can be aggressive without it being physical. So pretty much they agree to disagree. But behind that, we learned that I didn't know whose fault it was or who took that stance, but Michael took the stance of not speaking to Jasmine for a whole month because he's saying he was pretty much freaked out by that. Like Jasmine threw the word aggressive and he didn't know it was going to turn into a Me Too moment or what. So he kind of like backed up off of her. But I felt that he was being really transparent because in that moment, he was just saying that he didn't, nor did Jasmine have the tools to work through that. Now, him saying that, that's a cry for help. He needs the experts. Excuse me. He needs the experts in that sense. If he can't navigate through them having an argument or disagreement about being aggressive, and now they don't talk for 30 days, it's a 60-day process. So again, the so-called experts have failed again. And but that also showed me that Michael wasn't ready to be married. And I can't blame everything on him, but for him to take a stance like maybe one of his sisters would, I'm not talking to you because I'm mad. He's not ready to be a husband. But certainly he wasn't ready to be with Jasmina because, again, she was just as, let's say, in a sense of being immature and not flexible. She was communicative, but it wasn't healthy communication. That's what I could say. So they saying pretty much after the 30 days of silence, and when I think about that, I was like, 30 days of not speaking at all, like at that point, that leads me to believe that they were sleeping in separate rooms. I don't know if they was doing it for the camera or they 30 days in, I can't believe Jasmine stayed at that place. She quick to go back to her roommate and Mr. Feeney or whatever. Or did Michael stay there? I mean, something is off about that, and I'm sure they haven't told us the true story, and I don't think we'll ever know about that. But they didn't speak for 30 days, but they didn't hit a breakthrough until they hit that exercise that they do for couples who are in trouble, the tantric yoga. And you can see that they generally made some type of progress in which they were blindfolded and had to trust each other and like speak from their heart. But I guess it was a little bit too late or whatever. So, they didn't say that like, hey, once we got the tantric yoga, we move forward as husband and wife. They were just being able to tolerate each other, just to be cool, just like friends. And I'm like, wow, I mean, that's not really an accomplishment or whatever. So Kevin Frazier, the host, asked the $1 million question. Are you and Jasmina still together? And Michael brings out a fake drum roll, and Jasmina goes with him. I'm like, oh, they got unison. They joking around, and Kevin was irritated, and so was I. I'm like, what? So what's the answer? He like, stop playing or whatever. And I was just thinking, like, can they just stop doing that? And Michael said, they not together no more. And I'm not surprised. Not surprised at all. the Jasmina and Michael situation gave me the feeling they were doing it for the bonus, or production asked them to do it and got the bonus. So I'm not surprised. Michael said he called Jasmina and let her know that it ain't really working for him. I think they said it was like 2 weeks, 12 days or something like that. And Jasmina holding on to the same narrative. Michael's not doing enough. Michael ain't doing this. Michael ain't doing that. I'm like, he doing something, but it's always her pointing the finger at him. And Michael, he was pretty much he felt Jasmina wasn't putting in enough effort. So Jasmina really, I mean, it was kind of telling the way she spoke on it. She was saying, like, I was texting Michael and he agreed to come over, spend a night over my house one night a week, and we had a terrible argument. And I believe Jasmina thought she could sustain a marriage living with a roommate, and Michael's living somewhere else with two roommates, and they could really have a marriage like that. Nah, that ain't gonna work. And I don't blame Michael. He should have got out there. He shouldn't have said yes. So on this segment, Kevin Frazier was like really doing too much. He was like overstepping bounds. He wasn't like allowing them to speak or ask or for them to answer their own questions the way they wanted to. And he pretty much forced the situation and put it out there and saying like, hey, Jasmina was never attracted to Michael, which he was right, but that's not how a host conducts themselves. They present questions, provocative questions, to get the answers out, but you don't push a narrative or push what you think onto your interviewers. And that's exactly what he did. And, you know, Jasmine, you could tell she was offended. She got hot about it or whatever, and just saying, like, you don't know the story or you don't know what's going on. And it just gave Jasmine more ammunition. She pretty much said, like, for them not talking for 30 days and then just to go into a marriage and then Michael's not doing enough. And she made a point that, like, hey, I would tell Michael, like, hey, you look nice today, or you look nice in your suit or whatever. And he would say none of that. And then Kevin Frazier got in there again, which he was right, but he shouldn't have did it. And saying, like, you know, what's up? You gotta compliment her. And he's right, because you gotta think about it. They're getting married cold turkey, blindfolded, for real, and you haven't connected with her in that way. And you got the Caribbean Amazonian garden standing in front of you, and you can't tell her how beautiful she looks, how good she looks in her dress, and all those things. You're just meeting her. That's for, you know, when you get a little longer in a relationship, and a lot of people slip, or they get complacent, or, you know, they get used to a person, and that happens a lot. But this is your first time joining with a person, so you're going to settle in like y'all been married for 5 years, and don't tell a lady how she look, or you're attracted to her, or making a move. She wanted a different kind of man. Michael didn't do all that he could, you know, but Michael saying, like, hey, she act like she didn't want to be romanced, so I didn't do it. You got to try, Michael. Like Pastor Cal said, and I don't take his advice often. He was like, the dumbest thing you could have did was stop kissing her, because she felt like she was obligated. Make her obligate. One time you coming home with that kiss, it might wake her up. It might, you know, get her vag wet, as she say. You know, he don't have it. He coming from a perspective of a house full of sisters. He has a brother, but I don't know what type of role he plays in his life. Obviously, not a lot. So it just didn't work. Like I said, the guy doesn't court the lady. He just meeting her. He don't tell her how great she look. He don't open no doors. He's not a gentleman. You know, he's just a little buddy, and that's not gonna work. That's absolutely not gonna. When she already for real was never really attracted to Michael, and so as far as their future, Kevin Frazier asked Jasmine was she dating, and she kind of hesitated, and he's like, I guess you are, but she pretty much saying that she ain't. And I can believe that, because Jasmina wants a man that lives in the phone or lives across town or another state. with a roommate. So the commitment isn't deep and she can still live her life. And Michael said he jumping right back in, but then try to pull back, say he not dating, because he might not be dating. He got a living harem with him. He got two female roommates to split the rent 3 ways. And why would he date, I guess? Why would he take anybody serious? However, he wouldn't even answer that he's dating or taking anybody serious. Someone is actually sparking his interest, but they're not serious. It took 2 minutes to get that out of him. So that's pretty much it. Michael said he's not going to ask Jasmina for no advice for his dates, or because he really don't want to be her friend. He wanted to be her husband, but he ain't built like that. So drop down in the comments. Tell me what you thought about this segment, something I missed, something you want to add. And as I tell y'all, I appreciate y'all rocking with me. And y'all could be anywhere in this YouTube world, but you're here with me. I really appreciate it, and I really mean it.